Good morning, beautiful. It's lovely to see you. Inside today because it's just too breezy, but the good thing about being inside is we get to play with rocks. And they're all really small and delicious rocks today. This is a little amethyst. What is it? Tetrahedron? Jeez. I bought a little set of sacred geometry and this is one of them. And, it's far from perfect. Many of these things are not so perfectly created, but it's so sweet. And you can see all the detail in it. Good morning, Nora. It's beautiful to see you. So I'm just enjoying sharing the detail of this little sweetie with you. It's a very ordinary piece of somewhat agatized amethyst, but it's lovely. So there you go. It's got a zigzaggy bit in it. It's just gorgeous. The next one that says hello is this piece of carnelian. Dave, it's been yonks. Lovely to see you, beautiful being. So I'm going to try and there you go. You can see the light coming through it a bit. It's red. It's carnelian. It's very warm. What can you say? It's just warm and cozy, and because it's a tumbled pebble, it's lovely. Good morning, Shane. Hello. Lovely to see you here. This is a little piece of fluorite. Oh, so simple, just green, mostly transparent fluorite tumbled. And you think, well, that's really ordinary. But if you're into the resonance of rocks, this one has a really lovely feeling to it. If you notice vibration, we used to run a meditation group here many years ago now, and there was somebody there who used to come, who had a strong resonance with fluorite, and she always used to love this rock because it was kind of smiling and happy and like a little kid. That's all I can tell you. It's beautiful. Last but not least, and I need two to show you this one. This, obviously, is just plain quartz. Morning, Linda. It's great to see you. It's actually a beautiful symmetrical shape. You can see that, right? It's very transparent. And it's really very perfect. And obviously, it's got the little marks on the sides, which some people say they're record keepers. I don't know. I admit I'm a little bit hard-boiled about such things, but I love this crystal. I love them like people, but not, the physical description means it does X, Y, Z. I don't like that. There you go. I'll be honest. But this one, despite being so big, is quite a singing crystal. It really resonates. So I wanted you to hear that. So those are our rocks for the day. Oh, apparently I haven't finished with this one. Have a look at the bottom. You can see it was obviously there's something grew in here. It was part of a cluster. It's like we looked at the top, but we didn't look at the other end of it, and there's something about that wants to be seen. So there we are, and there's a little extra one growing in there too. So I'm very fond of this. I'm very fond of all my rocks. The ones that are all perfect and beautiful, and the ones that apparently aren't. Because each one, just like you and me, some of us look all beautiful and some of us don't. Some of us have the most amazing lives on the outside and some of us have very ordinary lives. And each of us is divinity expressing itself here. And what else can I say? We forget that. We make comparisons. We feel separation because I'm this and you're that and, you're divine. You probably don't feel like it a lot of the time. You are divinity expressing itself here. I just had a really profound experience in the unified field this morning. What else am I going to say? I can't describe it, but it impressed me deeply. It's changed me. That's what happens. Oh, I'm glad you enjoy the rocks, Dave. I do too. So you picked a good one. Well, I think you picked a good one to show up. But every day it feels like a good one to show up because there's always something that's coming through and there's this amazing conversation that we have. And today it's about adversity, I guess. But it's about adversity particularly in the context of when you think you're just moving along nicely. You've been consciously creating yourself. You've been choosing who you want to be. You've been choosing new thoughts and new feelings, and you've been practicing new behaviors, and you've been starting to get familiar with the self, and you think, well, I'm going along okay. And then something happens, be it a small thing or a big thing, but it triggers off your old response, or it triggers off a, what? You know, I was doing everything right and that thing didn't work. What the hell? And I want to talk about that today. Because because we are conditioned to look at what's outside of us and treat that as feedback that tells us how we're doing. When what's outside of us looks bad, or like we've had a setback, or whatever, the natural human response is to say, oh, well, clearly all that work that I did on myself wasn't good enough, or I did something wrong, I broke it. I don't know what I did, but clearly I broke it. And we often have that. I think that feeling is actually stronger. It's like, what did I do? You know, why did this happen? And, you know, I've mentioned this a couple of times. I'll tell you a story. My beloved husband, walking up the road, you know, and we went, it was Monday, I think. We went for a walk to the top of the hill, came down, and there was a lady there who was on one side of the pavement. So we went round these parked cars and onto the road because the road was empty. And, you know, and we were walking quite fast and enjoying that, going down the hill to get past her and past the cars and back onto the footpath because we were all going in the same direction, but, you know, social distancing. And he twisted his ankle really badly. You know, it's like he managed to hobble home and you know, remember I said I was late that day because I wanted to do some energy work. I wanted to put coherence around that fast, and we did some body talk. There's a body talk technique called fast aid, which is really good for getting the brain out of shock and getting it into healing mode. And so I did that, which is why I was late. And the next day I went back up the hill for my walk to take my picture and, you know, what I do. And I came down and I thought, where the hell is that cat's eye that he put his foot on and twisted it? I had to look for it. There is just one. And that whole stretch, there's just one. And it's actually marking a thing that's in the road. It's not because there needs to be a thing in the centre, you know, it's not a divider. Just one freaking cat's eye. And in the whole of that stretch of the road, he caught it, stepped on it wrong, twisted his ankle. And so, you know, that was like, this is divine humour somehow. What? The whole of the road, you know, this. Now, going back to Monday, when we both got home, morning Julian, can see your smile up there. When we both got home, my first thought when I sort of realised, oh gee, was to remember the last time my husband sprained his ankle. It was about as bad. It was different. It was a slightly different injury, different part of the ankle. But it was bad. And it took months. And every time it started to get better, something would go back. He would twist it again, you know. And it just went on and on and on and on. It was just excruciating. And that was after a severe injury that he had in 2001. I can even remember which year, which took like 12 years before we started to make some headway. Oh, God, it was long. Lots of pain. And you wouldn't know to look at him now. So the first thing I noticed was my brain going into the old pattern of, oh God, this is going to take forever to get better. But I caught it. I noticed it and I said, no, it's not. No. I was conscious enough to catch that thought before it fired up all the biological response and the rest of the neural networks and to say, no, we're not running that program. Hell no. And I noticed my husband also choosing to have a different response to it. We both had very different responses because you know what? We're both really different people to who we were back then. And it was this sharp contrast, really positive contrast. Oh my goodness, we're not who we used to be. Okay, we're not going to respond to the same old thing in the same old way. And so, you know, fast forward to today, it has not been comfortable for him. But he is healing up really fast. Because, I mean, we're using our tools, right? And we're wrapping coherence around this, and he's still meditating, and it's difficult because his foot is sore. And, but he's healing up fast. He's healing up fast. And he is not the same person he was. And so he's not going to have the same outcome. And when we continue to respond to adversity the way that we used to, that's what makes it continue to be the way it's always been. If you're a different person, if you make different choices, if you choose to think different thoughts and feel different feelings and make different choices that make different behaviors that then give you different experiences, that then give you different emotions, to give you more different thoughts, you are not going to have the same outcome. And that is also how you change very long-standing chronic conditions. Another long story. So the point being that I want to make that this is an adversity. It's not comfortable. It disrupts his sleep. He's tired. But I see him choosing differently, and I see myself choosing differently. It was a little while ago, actually, that I recognised that whenever he was in pain or having a difficult time or whatever, that I was kind of like, oh, you poor thing. Hi, Inga, lovely to see you. And I thought, stop that. No. He's a creator. If I wrap oh, how sad that is, which is why I never put a crying face on somebody's sad comment. Because it just reinforces it. Oh, you poor thing. It's reinforcing the victimhood. I won't do that. So I had to stop making him a victim. I changed. That was a really important change. And I saw, that there's been an accelerating speed of change in his mind and way in being because I've stopped holding him in the place that I held him for so long. And I just didn't realize it. So, who am I being about this? So when the adversity comes, and you've got a creation and it's going along and then kaboom, the natural response is to say, oh no, that's awful. What did I do wrong? How did I break this? What did I do to cause this? Did I not learn a lesson? And my response to it is none of the above. If you know that you've been changing and that you are making steps, steps pun, as a new person, and then it all appears to be going to hell in a handbasket, what that is you kind of testing yourself. Hi, Heather! And I don't mean test like a pass-fail. It really is, hey, are you going to respond to this like you used to be or as your future self? Who are you now? Who are you now? Will you stay on the course as your new self? Or will you go back to who you used to be because you're afraid of the adversity, or this is how you used to be about when things went wrong? Who are you? What are you choosing? You didn't do anything wrong. You're just asking yourself more deeply, who are you going to be? So you didn't do anything wrong. It's actually progress. It's actually a sign that you're succeeding. Yeah, I was doubling down on his dampened vibrations. You're right. And when I get out of the way, it's just amazing what happens, You're right, Linda. So it's just really easy for me and you too, because we're programmed this way, to go back into our victimhood or our loss or our anger or our resentment or our frustration when things don't seem to be going the way that we want them to go. And I had that happen yesterday. I had a really challenging evening yesterday. I had a transcendent morning. I had a good day. I had a short night's sleep. I had this most amazing meditation, a heart-opening big shift. Didn't feel tired, just functioned really well the whole day, was in a great space. And then all this stuff started coming up for me because I was having tiny sensations from my body. And my brain was saying, that small thing means this huge thing. And I had to face myself again. And I made some really deep choices, and I did something different which broke the state, which is the whole point of it. And I got myself clear about what I was actually deciding about, which sometimes I really have to go into what I'm feeling so that I know what it is that I'm feeling, so that I can then very clearly say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Sometimes, the answer is easy. You need to know the question. And I was aware that I was banging my head against questions that I didn't really understand what they were. So I had to get into a rather unpleasant state to get clear about the questions. But once I understood the questions, I knew I needed to shift it. And by that stage, it was like I was really aware of this freaking mountain that I was standing at the bottom of and looking up, and it felt huge. And I realised, oh my goodness, I would rather have somebody tell me what to expect, even though that could be bad, than stay in this place where I don't know what to expect and be in the possibility that I can resolve this myself. I had such a strong desire to go to the known, even if it was going to be bad. That's how strongly we resist not being able to control what's coming, right? And I felt this frustration. I really recognized that I felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall and getting nowhere. And logically observing what's happening in my life, I know I'm making progress. And yet the screaming in my head was, no, you can't do it. You're not powerful enough. You can't make that change. It's not going to happen. And from that space, with all of that stuff going on, I recognized how much I wanted to go to anything that was known, even if it was bad. Yeah, finding out what we don't want so we can discover what we do want. You're absolutely right, Linda. Sometimes there is value in doing that. But you really got to then be willing to disown the pain. You really got to be willing to say, okay, I get it now. I know what I'm upset about or whatever it is. Now I got to stop this. I got to break this. So what I did, because, I was conscious and I couldn't sit down and do another meditation. I had this live to do, right? I had people to organise and stuff that had to be managed. But I was actually eating my dinner. And I made a very conscious decision not to read, not to watch anything. With every bite that I took and I chewed, I was breathing in and out of my heart. Because I had to do that. I had to get heart-centered and I had to do something about elevating my emotions because I needed to break that state. Because my whole body was in fear. To get that clarity, I had to go to a place of fear. And I didn't want to stay there because I knew what it was doing to me. So, and I sat there very, very determinedly just thinking, I've got to eat my dinner and I've got to change the state. Right, I'm not going to take a bite until I can feel that I've actually shifted this a bit. Because you put food into a digestive system where you're in fear and it's shut down. It can't work. Remember, when you're in survival, all of the blood supply is taken away from your digestive system. It goes to your peripheral, your arms and legs, goes to the, which means you don't have your reasoning powers and your digestion is not working. So there's no point putting food in your gut when you're scared. So I knew I had to change that. I had to shift that so that my digestion could work. And that was kind of important to me. So I did that. I made a very conscious choice. And, I don't know, it takes me 20, 25, 30 minutes to eat my dinner. And by the time I'd done that, I was feeling different. And I could actually feel energy starting to move in my body again. So, I really had to summon an effort of will because there was a part of me that just wanted to let go of the possibility that I could be in power about it and just run off and get reassurance from someone else. Very deep battle, very deep program in me. So, you see, when it comes up, when the Tyrannosaurus Rex that you thought you had put to bed starts screaming at you again, it doesn't mean that it's just as big and alive as it was. It means that it's trying to be a zombie. So just don't give the zombie, which is so nearly dead, any attention. Keep choosing who you want to be. And it takes an effort of will. And it's not easy. And I keep saying this because it's what Joe says, and it's so true. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But it's not easy. However, it is so worth the effort. I can't tell you how worth the effort it is. Maybe next week, when I'm not so ripped open on the inside in the most beautiful way, I'll start telling you what's been coming to me this week. I don't know. It is worth the effort to keep choosing who you want to be. So much love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.